How to learn English faster and speak clearly. How long have you been learning English? 5 years? 10 years? Or maybe since middle school? Sex. Yet every time you open your mouth to speak, the person in front of you frowns, tilts their head, and asks, "What?" If you've ever been in that situation, stop for a moment and be honest with yourself. It's not because you're bad at English, it's not because you don't know enough vocabulary, and it's not because your pronunciation is terrible. The real problem is this: no one has ever taught you how to learn English the right way so you can learn faster, and no one has ever shown you how to train your mouth and your voice so you can speak clearly. That's why the more you learn, the slower you feel. The more you try to speak, the less confident you become. But today, everything changes. This video is not boring theory. This is your roadmap, your step-by-step system to learning English faster. And menopause, sex, 0.3. More importantly, sex, 0.3. Speaking English clearly. 0.3. Confidently. Sex, 0.3. And naturally in any situation. 0.5. And the best part? You don't need to learn 1,000 new words. 0.5. You don't need to relearn grammar. 0.5. You just need to change the way you practice, how you use English, and how you speak English every single day. Why can some people speak clearly after just 3 months, while others spend 10 years and still struggle? It's not intelligence. It's not talent. It's the method. It's the system. It's the habits they follow. And you're about to get all of that in this video. Today, I'm going to show you how to learn English faster without spending extra time. You'll learn how to train your mouth, your muscles, and your sounds, so that every time you open your mouth, your words come out crisp and clear. You'll learn how to shadow correctly so English becomes a natural reflex. You'll learn how to speak in a way that grabs attention, where people understand you instantly. Meta, pause, sex, 0.3, without the painful, "Excuse me," or "Can you repeat that?" If you've ever wondered why you can understand English when listening, meta, pause, sex, 0.3, you can read it. Meta, pause, sex, 0.3. But when you try to speak, everything comes out unclear. This video is the answer. Meta, pause, sex, 0.5. And I promise you, if you watch until the end and do the practice exercises inside this video, meta, pause, sex, 0.3, you will feel the difference in your voice today. Meta, pause, sex, 0.5. This is not just an English lesson, this is a lesson about your voice. Meta, pause, sex, 0.3. Your confidence. Meta, pause, sex, 0.3. And the way you deliver your message to the world. Meta, pause, sex, 0.5. So stay focused. Meta, pause, sex, 0.5. Don't look away. Meta, pause, sex, 0.5. And get ready to take your English to a completely new level. Meta, pause, sex, 0.5. Watch until the end. Meta, pause, sex, 0.3. Because you'll get a practice routine that will immediately change the way you sound. Meta, pause, sex, 0.5. Let's get started. Meta, pause, sex, 0.5. Now let's talk about the real reason why so many learners study English for years but still speak slowly. Meta, sex, 0.3. Unclearly. Meta, sex, 0.3. or without confidence. It's not because they're lazy, sex 0.3, and it's not because English is too hard, sex 0.5. It's because they're learning in a way that simply does not work. First, 0.3, most people study vocabulary in a random, disconnected way. They memorize single words without context, without repetition, without actually using them. And when you don't repeat words in real sentences, your brain forgets them in a few days. Second, many learners only read English. They read textbooks, read subtitles, read social media, but they don't listen enough. And, more importantly, they don't speak enough. Speaking is a physical skill, not a mental one. You can't speak clearly if you only read silently in your head. Third, almost no one trains their mouth. They don't move their lips, tongue, or jaw the way English needs. And because of that, sounds get swallowed, endings disappear, clearance and their sentence becomes a blur. Fourth, learners don't have a daily system. Some days they study for 2 hours, then they skip a whole week. Without a routine, sex 0.3. There's no progress, sex 0.5. Consistency beats intensity every single time. And finally, 0.3, this is the biggest mistake. They never record themselves. 0.5, they don't shadow native speakers. 0.5, they don't listen to their own mistakes. 0.5, so they repeat the same unclear sounds year after year without even knowing it. Imagine trying to improve your appearance without ever looking in a mirror. That's exactly what happens when you never record your voice. These habits keep learners stuck for years. But here's the good news. Once you fix these things, your progress becomes fast, visible, and powerful. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to break these habits and replace them with a system that actually works. Solution 1. Learn less, repeat more. The first and most powerful solution to learning English faster and speaking more clearly is this: learn less, repeat more. Most learners try to learn too many words. Sex 0.3 too many structures. Sex 0.3 too many rules at the same time. Sex 0.3. And because of that, sex 0.3, they remember nothing deeply. Sex 0.5. Fluency doesn't come from learning a mountain of new vocabulary. Sex 0.5. Fluency comes from mastering a small number of useful words. Sex 0.3. Phrases. Sex 0.3. And sentence patterns, and using them again and again until they become automatic. Sex 0.5. This is where chunks come in. 0.5. Chunks are not single words. They are ready-to-use pieces of language that native speakers use every single day. 0.5. They are natural. 0.3. Automatic. 0.3. And extremely powerful because they help you speak without translating. For example, 0.3, instead of trying to memorize 10 separate words, 0.3, you learn one chunk like at the moment, 0.3, and suddenly you can use it in dozens of real sentences. I'm busy at the moment. I can't talk at the moment. At the moment I'm studying English. One chunk, many uses. Another chunk. I'm supposed to. This chunk instantly gives you the power to express obligation. Sex. 0.3 expectation. Sex. 0.3 or plans. I'm supposed to finish this today. Sex. 0.3. I'm supposed to call her. Sex. 0.3. I'm supposed to be there at 8. And another. Let me check. It's short. Sex. Point 3, simple. Sex. Point 3, but extremely common in real conversations. Let me check my schedule. Sex. Point 3. Let me check the price. Sex. Point 3. Let me check with my team. Sex. Point 5. These are not theory. Sex. These are real, everyday phrases that native speakers use constantly. Sex. When you learn chunks like these, sex. Point 3. You stop thinking word by word. Point 5. You stop translating in your head. Sex. You start speaking naturally, fast. This is exactly what your audience profile needs. Simple, sex. Practical, sex. Ready-to-use language they can apply immediately in real life. And here's where the magic happens. Repetition. Most learners underestimate repetition, but repetition is what turns a phrase into a reflex. When you repeat a sentence 20 or 30 times, sex, 0.3, your mouth learns the movement. Sex, 0.3. Your brain builds the pattern. Sex, 0.3. And suddenly, the sentence becomes effortless. Sex, 0.5. You don't need to think. 0.5. You don't need to plan. 0.5. It just comes out. 0.5. And that's the feeling every English learner wants. To speak without fear. 0.3. Without hesitation. Without translating in their head. Point 5. Imagine this. Every morning you choose 3 chunks. Point 5. Just 3. You say each one 20 times. Point 5. That's 1 minute per chunk. Point 5. 3 minutes total. Then you plug them into simple sentences and repeat those sentences another 20 times. In less than 10 minutes, point 3, your brain absorbs those structures deeply. After 1 week, you've mastered 21 chunks. That's more usable English than learning 200 random words that you will forget in a few days. The truth is, native speakers rely heavily on chunks. They don't think about grammar, they think in patterns. Can I get, do you mind if, I'm not sure, sex 0.3, but I'll take care of it. Sex 0.5. These phrases carry meaning. Sex 0.3 rhythm. Sex 0.3 tone. Sex 0.3 and structure all at once. Sex 0.5. That's why they help you speak naturally so much faster. Sex 0.5. And the best part? Learning in chunks makes speaking clearer too. 0.5. When you repeat the same chunk again and again, 0.3, your pronunciation improves automatically. Point 5. Your mouth memorizes the sounds. Point 5. Your jaw opens more naturally. Point 5. Your voice becomes smoother. Point 5. You speak more clearly because you're repeating the same sounds until your muscles get used to them. Point 5. This is physical training, not just mental learning. Point 5. And your audience loves anything that feels practical, fast, and realistic. They want results. They want something they can use today, right after watching the video. Chunks give them that. Repetition makes it permanent, and themes make it simple. Don't learn random chunks. Learn by topic, basic daily English, then common conversations, then work-related language. For example, basic, how's it going? Meta pause. Sex, 0.3. I'm on my way. Meta pause. Sex, 0.3. Give me a second. Meta pause. Sex, 0.5. Daily communication. What do you think? Metapause. Sex. 0.3. That makes sense. Metapause. Sex. 0.3. Could you help me out? Work and professional life. I'll send you the update. Metapause. Sex. 0.3. Let's go over this. Metapause. Sex. 0.3. Here's what I suggest. Metapause. Sex. 0.5. When you combine topic-based chunks with high repetition, metapause. Sex. 0.3. Your English becomes automatic and your clarity improves dramatically. Metapause. Sex. 0.5. Because you're not trying to invent sentences, you're using sentences you already practiced dozens of times. Metapause. Sex. 0.5. Learning less but repeating more is not just a technique. Sex. 0.5. It's a mindset shift. Sex. 0.5. It's the difference between being a slow, sex, 0.3 hesitant English learner and becoming a fast, sex, 0.3 confident speaker. Sex. 0.5. And once you experience this power, sex, 0.3, you will never go back to the old way again. Sex. 0.5. Solution 2. Shadowing to learn twice as fast. Sex. 0.5. Now let's move to one of the most powerful techniques in the entire world of language learning, shadowing. If you truly want to learn English faster, #meta, pause, sex 0.3, speak more clearly. #meta, pause, sex 0.3, and sound more natural. #meta, pause, sex 0.3. This technique can literally double your progress in a very short time. #meta, pause, sex 0.5. So what is shadowing? It's simple. You listen to a sentence, #meta, pause, sex 0.3, and you immediately repeat it. #pause, sex 0.3, trying to match it exactly, same pronunciation. #pause, sex 0.3, same rhythm. #pause, sex 0.3, same stress. #pause, sex 0.3, same tone. #pause, sex 0.5. That's it. #pause, sex 0.5. But don't let the simplicity fool you. #pause, sex 0.5. Shadowing is not just repeating words. #pause, sex 0.5. It is training your brain. #pause, sex 0.3. Your ears. #sex 0.3. And your mouth at the same time. #sex 0.5. When you shadow correctly, #sex 0.3. You're not learning English the slow way. You're absorbing English the natural way. #sex 0.3. Just like how children learn their first language. #sex 0.5. And the benefits? They're huge. Sex 0.5. First, sex 0.3. Shadowing increases your speaking speed and reaction time. Sex 0.5. Instead of thinking and translating, sex 0.3. your mouth starts responding automatically. Sex 0.5. Second, sex 0.3. Shadowing fixes your pronunciation without you even realizing it. Because when you try to match a native speaker exactly, sex 0.3, your brain hears the difference between your version and theirs, and it automatically adjusts. Sex 0.5. Third, sex 0.3. Shadowing helps you understand and copy the natural rhythm and melody of English. 0.5. English is a stress-timed language. 0.3. And most learners sound unnatural simply because they don't follow the correct rhythm. 0.5. Shadowing solves that. 0.5. Now let's talk about how to shadow the right way. Point 3. Because doing it correctly is the key. Point 5. There is a simple 4-step process that can transform the way you speak. Point 5. Step 1. Choose the right audio. Do not start with fast movies or complicated TED Talks. Choose something slow. Point 3. Clear. Point 3. And easy to understand. A clear English podcast. Point 3. A motivational speech. Point 3. Or a slow interview is perfect for beginners. Step 2. Listen to one short sentence. Not a paragraph. Point 3. Not a long conversation, just one sentence. Give your brain something small and manageable. Step 3. Pause and repeat the sentence. Point 3. Copying it 100%. Match the speed. Matt has sex, 0.3. Match the stress, sex, 0.3. Match the emotion, sex, 0.3. Match the rhythm, sex, 0.5. Imagine you are becoming the voice you're listening to, 0.5. This is where the magic happens. Point 5. Step 4. Record yourself and compare it to the original. Point 5. Yes. Point 3. It may feel uncomfortable at first, but this is how you learn fast. When you hear the difference, your brain makes instant corrections. It's self-feedback without needing a teacher. And here's something your audience will love. You don't need to shadow for hours. Just 10 to 15 minutes a day is enough to change your voice, your fluency, and your confidence. To make it even easier, here are some beginner-friendly shadowing sources that work extremely well. Slow English podcasts designed for learners. Interview clips from speakers with clear, slow speech. Motivational videos with strong, clear voices. And English learning YouTube channels where the teacher speaks slowly and clearly. Notice one thing. You don't need complicated content, you need clear content. Shadowing is about clarity. Sex, 0.3, not difficulty. Sex, 0.5. And here's a bonus tip that professionals use. Stand while shadowing. Sex, 0.5. When you stand, sex, 0.3, your breathing becomes deeper. Sex, 0.3, your voice becomes stronger. Sex, 0.3, and your articulation becomes clearer. Sex, 0.5. Another tip, use headphones so you can hear every small detail of the speaker's voice. Sex, 0.5. And the final tip, don't chase speed. Sex, 0.5. Chase accuracy. Sex, 0.5. You only increase speed when you can shadow clearly. Sex, 0.5. Remember, sex, 0.3 shadowing is your shortcut to fluent 0.3 clear English. Sex, 0.5. Nothing else trains your ears. Sex, 0.3 your mouth. Sex, 0.3 and your brain at the same time. Sex, 0.5. And when you shadow every day, sex, 0.3, even for a few minutes. Sex, 0.3. You will notice your English becoming smoother. Sex, 0.3 clearer. Sex, 0.3 and more natural without even trying. Sex, 0.5. This is how professionals train. Sex, 0.5. This is how confident speakers are made. Sex, 0.5. And this is how you will start speaking English faster than ever before. Sex, 0.5. Solution 3. Training your mouth muscles to speak clearly. Now, this part is extremely important. Sex, 0.3, and honestly, it's one of the audience's favorite sections, because this is where they finally understand why they've been speaking English unclearly for so many years, and how to fix it fast. Most learners think speaking clearly is about knowing more vocabulary, but in reality, clear speech comes from strong, flexible speaking muscles. Your lips, your tongue, and your jaw are the tools that shape every sound in English. If these muscles are weak, tight, or slow, your English will always sound unclear, no matter how smart you are. So let's break it down. There are 3 major muscle groups you want train if you want sharp, clean English: the lips, the tongue, and the jaw. Your lips control sounds like p, b, v, f, sounds that require precision, pressure, and movement. If your lips don't move enough, these sounds disappear or become too soft. Your tongue controls some of the most important and most difficult English sounds: th, ul, t, d. If your tongue is lazy or slow, #meta, pause, sex, 0.3. Your words will always sound mixed. #meta, pause, sex, 0.3. Unclear, #meta, pause, sex, 0.3. Or mumbled, #pause, sex, 0.5. And your jaw controls how wide your mouth opens. #meta, sex, 0.3, which is directly connected to clarity. #pause, sex, 0.5. English requires bigger mouth movements than many other languages. #pause, sex, 0.5. If your jaw stays tight or barely opens, #pause, sex, 0.3. Your sounds get trapped inside your mouth. #pause, sex, 0.5. But the good news is this: just like training at the gym, #pause, sex, 0.3. You can strengthen these muscles very quickly with the right exercises. #pause, sex, 0.5. So let's go through 3 simple but incredibly powerful drills. #pause, sex, 0.5. First, #pause, sex, 0.3. The warm-up. #pause, sex, 0.5. Spend 1 minute getting your mouth ready. #sex, 0.5. Open your mouth wide. #sex, 0.3. Then close it. #sex, 0.5. Repeat a few times. #sex, 0.5. Then do the smile, kiss movement. Smile as wide as you can. Sex, 0.3. Then push your lips forward like a kiss. Sex, 0.5. This trains lip flexibility. Sex, 0.5. After that, sex, 0.3. Stretch your vocal muscles by slowly saying the vowels A, E, O, U. Sex, 0.3. Holding each one for 2 seconds. Sex, 0.5. This warms up your jaw and helps you control your breath at the same time. Next, #meta, sex, 0.3. Let's train the tongue, the most important muscle for pronunciation. #meta, sex, 0.5. Start with the basics. Think, thank, that. Sex, 0.5. This builds strength for the TH sound. Sex, 0.3, which many learners struggle with. Sex, 0.5. Then move into a tongue twister like red leather, yellow leather. Sex, 0.5. Say it slowly first. Sex, 0.3. Then gradually increase your speed. Sex, 0.5. This exercise forces your tongue to move quickly and accurately. Sex, 0.3, building agility and control. Sex, 0.5. Finally, sex, 0.3, the articulation drill. Sex, 0.5. This drill trains clarity. Sex, 0.3. Speed. Sex, 0.3. And breath control at the same time. Sex, 0.5. Choose any sentence, preferably one from earlier in the video, and read it slowly. Sex, 0.3. Clearly. Sex, 0.3. And with full mouth movement. Sex, 0.5. Focus on finishing every sound. Sex, 0.3, especially the endings. Sex, 0.5. Take small breaths between phrases so you maintain control. Sex, 0.5. When you do this consistently, sex, 0.3. Your mouth learns the correct movements and your speech automatically becomes sharper and easier to understand. These exercises may feel strange at first, 0.3, but that's normal, because you're training muscles you've never used this way before. But within just a few days, you will notice your lips moving more easily, your tongue becoming faster, and your jaw opening naturally when you speak. Your English will sound clearer, stronger, and more confident, not because you learned new words, but because your mouth finally knows how to produce them correctly. This is how actors train. This is how public speakers prepare. And this is how you will build a strong, clear English voice that people can understand instantly. Solution 4. Mastering word stress to sound natural. Now let's talk about one of the biggest secrets to speaking clear, natural English. Stressing the right words in every sentence. Most learners think clarity comes only from correct pronunciation. But the truth is, clarity comes from rhythm, specifically, which words you choose to emphasize. English is a stress-timed language. That means some words are strong and some words are weak. Sex, 0.5. If you stress the wrong words, sex, 0.3, your sentence sounds flat. Sex, 0.3 robotic. Sex, 0.3, or even confusing. Sex, 0.5. But when you stress the right words, 0.3, your speech instantly becomes clearer. Sex, 0.3, more natural. Sex, 0.3, and easier for listeners to follow. 0.5, think about this sentence, I didn't say he stole your phone. 0.5. Depending on which word you stress, 0.3, the meaning completely changes. 0.5. I didn't say he stole your phone means someone else said it. Point 5. I didn't say he stole your phone means you wrote it. 0.3. Not said it. Point 5. I didn't say he stole your phone suggests maybe he borrowed it. Point 5. One sentence. Point 3. 7 different meanings, all controlled by stress. Point 5. That's how powerful it is. So how do you train stress? Start by identifying content words, the important words that carry meaning. These are usually nouns. Point 3. Main verbs. Point 3. Adjectives. Point 3. And adverbs. Function words like the. Point 3. A. Point 3. To. And. Point 3. Is. Point 3. And at are usually unstressed. Take this sentence. She's going to the market to buy fresh vegetables. Sex 0.5. The stressed words are going, market, buy, fresh vegetables. Sex 0.5. When you read it with correct stress, sex 0.3, it becomes clear and natural. She's going to the market to buy fresh vegetables. Sex 0.5. But if you stress everything equally, sex 0.3, it sounds unnatural and heavy. She's going to the market to buy fresh vegetables. Sex 0.5. To practice, sex 0.3. Choose a sentence, sex 0.3. Underline the content words, sex 0.3, and read it out loud while emphasizing them. Sex 0.5. You can even clap or tap your hand on each stressed word to feel the rhythm. Sex 0.5. Once you master word stress, sex 0.3, your English will sound smoother. Sex 0.3, more dynamic. Sex 0.3, and far easier to understand, just like a native speaker. Solution 5. The 10-minute daily system. Now, here's the part that truly transforms your English, not in months, but in days. If you want consistent progress, you don't need 2 hours of studying. You don't need a complicated schedule. What you really need is a simple #0.3 repeatable 10-minute system you can follow every single day. This routine trains your mouth, your brain, your rhythm, and your clarity all at once. And the best part? Anyone can do it. Anywhere. Anytime. Let's break it down. The first 2 minutes are your warm-up. You prepare your mouth just like an athlete prepares their body. Do quick lip stretches, open your jaw wide, and practice a few long vowel sounds. This wakes up your speaking muscles and instantly improves clarity. The next 3 minutes are for shadowing. Choose one short, clear sentence from an English podcast, lesson, or speech. Listen carefully. Pause, then repeat it exactly. Match the tone, the rhythm, the energy. This builds natural fluency faster than anything else. The following 3 minutes are your chunk repetition. Choose 2 or 3 useful phrases for the day, like, at the moment, let me check, or, I'm supposed to. Repeat each sentence 20 times. This creates automatic reflexes so you can speak without thinking. Meta, pause. Sex, 0.5. And the final 2 minutes are your recording time. Meta, pause. Sex, 0.5. Record yourself reading a short paragraph or speaking freely about your day. Meta, pause. Sex, 0.5. Then listen to the recording and identify one thing to fix tomorrow. Maybe clarity. Meta, pause. Sex, 0.3. Maybe speed. Meta, pause. Sex, 0.5. 0.3. Maybe pronunciation. Meta, pause. Sex, 0.5. That's it. Meta, pause. Sex, 0.5. 10 minutes. Meta, pause. Sex, 0.5. But when you repeat this routine every day, meta, pause. Sex, 0.3. Your voice becomes clearer. Meta, pause. Sex, 0.3. Your confidence grows. Meta, pause. Sex, 0.3. And your English improves faster than you ever expected. Meta, pause. Sex, 0.5. Consistency beats perfection. Meta, pause. Sex, 0.5. And this simple system will take your speaking to a completely new level. Meta, pause. Sex, 0.5. Practice with me. Now it's time for the most important part of this entire lesson, the practice session. Meta, pause. Sex, 0.5. This is where you don't just listen. You actually train with me. Meta, pause. Sex, 0.3. Follow my voice. Meta, pause. Sex, 0.3. Move your mouth. Meta, pause. Sex, 0.3. Shape your sounds. Meta, pause. Sex, 0.3. And feel your English becoming clearer in real time. Meta, pause. Sex, 0.5. Remember, meta, pause. Sex, 0.3. Watching a video doesn't change your English. Meta, pause. Sex, 0.5. Practicing along with the video does. So right now, #meta, sex, 0.3. Wherever you are, standing, #sex, 0.3. Sitting, sex, 0.3. In your room, sex, 0.3. Or even outside, get ready to follow every step. Sex, 0.5. Don't worry about sounding silly. 0.5. Don't worry about being perfect. 0.5. Just focus on movement. 0, sound. 3, and energy. 0.5. Let's begin. 0.5. We'll start with A, the warm-up. This warm-up will take 1 minute, but it will immediately improve clarity because it wakes up your speaking muscles. Say everything after me, matching my speed and my tone. Let's warm up the lips first. Smile and kiss. Smile and kiss. Do it with me. Smile, kiss. Smile, kiss. 5 more times. Feel the stretch. Your lips need to move in big motions to pronounce English sounds clearly. Now let's switch to U, E. These 2 vowels train lip tension and lip stretching. Repeat after me. Ooh, E, ooh, E, ooh, E. Bigger, sharper, more energy. Perfect. Now let's move to the tongue. Stick your tongue out and hold for 2 seconds. 1, 2, and bring it back in. Again. Out, hold, back in. Good. Now move your tongue left to right. Sex, 0.5. Go slow but controlled. Sex, 0.5. Left, right, left, right. Sex, 0.5. Now draw circles around your lips using your tongue. Sex, 0.5. 5 circles clockwise and 5 circles counterclockwise. Sex, 0.5. This movement builds flexibility for sounds like L, sex, R, sex, 3, and TH, sex, 0.5. Now let's loosen the jaw, because English needs a wide mouth opening to sound clear. Open your mouth wide, hold 2 seconds, and close. Open, hold, and close. Repeat it 5 times. You should already feel your face warming up. This is physical training. Your mouth is your instrument, and we're tuning it. Excellent. Now let's move on to part B, sample pronunciation practice. I'm going to read a word or phrase, and you repeat it with full energy, full mouth movement, and full confidence. Let's start with the ST cluster. Say it after me. Stop. Good. Start. Again, start. Now, street. Feel your tongue staying high and your lips staying tight. And now the phrase. Stay strong. Repeat it. Make it clear. Make it sharp. Great. Now we switch to the SH sound. Sex, 0.5, soft, sliding, smooth. Sex, 0.5. Say, she. Sex, 0.5. Then, shop. Sex, 0.5. Then, shut the door. Sex, 0.5. Really feel that air sliding out. Sex, 0.5. Now the CH sound, tight and punchy. Sex, 0.5. Say, change your life. Sex, 0.5. Then, check again. Sex, 0.5. Then, choose wisely. Sex, 0.5. Make the CH sound pop. Sex, 0.5. Now the TH family. Sex, 0.3. One of the most famous English challenges. Sex, 0.5. Don't rush. Sex, 0.5. Stick your tongue slightly out and push air. Sex, 0.5. Say, think clearly. Sex, 0.5. Now, thank you. Sex, 0.5. Then the voiced version. This is real. Sex, 0.5. And finally, that's amazing. Sex, 0.5. These 4 sound families are essential for clear English. Sex, 0.3. And you're already training them like a pro. Sex, 0.5. Now we move to part C, shadowing practice. Sex, 0.5. Shadowing means copying me exactly. My rhythm. Sex, 0.3. My tone. Sex, 0.3. My stress. Sex, 0.3. My emotion. Sex, 0.5. Listen to the sentence. Sex, 0.3. Then repeat it as if you are my echo. Sex, 0.3. My shadow. Sex, 0.5. Here's the first sentence. I want to speak English more clearly every day. Sex, 0.5. Now pause and repeat. Sex, 0.5. Imagine your voice carrying that same confidence. Second sentence. Learning English becomes easier when you train the right way. Meta. Sex, 0.5. Repeat it with steady rhythm and clear stress. Meta. Sex, 0.5. Feel the natural flow. Sex, 0.5. Third sentence. My voice is strong. Sex, 0.3. And my words are clear. Sex, 0.5. Say it with belief. Sex, 0.5. Say it like you mean it. Sex, 0.5. This is not just shadowing, it's self-programming. Sex, 0.5. The more you repeat powerful sentences, sex, 0.3, the more your brain begins to believe them. Sex, 0.5. Now we're moving into part D, the mini speaking drill. Sex, 0.5. You will speak in full sentences now. Sex, 0.5. I'll say each line. Sex, 0.3, then pause. Sex, 0.3, and you repeat after me. Sex, 0.5. Speak intentionally. Sex, 0.3, clearly. Sex, 0.3, with strong mouth movement. Sex, 0.5. Here's the paragraph. Every day. Sex, 0.3. I train my mouth. Sex, 0.3. My voice. Sex, 0.3. And my English. Sex, 0.5. Now you. Sex, 0.5. Good. Sex, 0.5. Next line. I speak slowly. Sex, 0.3. Clearly. Sex, 0.3. And confidently. Sex, 0.5. Repeat it. Sex, 0.5. Feel the clarity. Sex, 0.5. Next line. I focus on the sounds. Sex, 0.3. The rhythm. Sex, 0.3. And the meaning of every word. Sex, 0.5. Say it with purpose. Sex, 0.5. And the final line. I am improving every single day. Sex, 0.5. This is your affirmation. Sex, 0.5. Say it loudly. Sex, 0.5. Own it. Sex, 0.5. You are improving. That's not a slogan, it's a fact. Hashed meta. Sex, 0.5. Your voice right now is already clearer than it was 5 minutes ago. Sex, 0.5. That's the power of guided practice. Sex, 0.5. Now let's go to the final part, homework. Sex, 0.5. This is what you will do after the video ends. Sex, 0.3, because real progress comes from consistency. 0.5. Homework 1. Shadow 5 sentences from today's lesson. Sex, 0.5. Replay the video. Sex, 0.3. Choose any 5 sentences. Sex, 0.3, and shadow them 10 times each. Sex, 0.5. Homework 2. Read the paragraph we practiced earlier. Sex, 0.3. Record your voice. Sex, 0.3. And then listen to the recording. Sex, 0.5. Ask yourself, did I finish the final sounds? Did I stress the right words? Was my speed controlled or too fast? This reflection step is where real improvement begins. Sex, 0.5. Homework 3. Choose 3 difficult words. Sex, 0.3. Break them into syllables. Sex, 0.3. And say each syllable slowly and clearly. Sex, 0.5. This builds structure and keeps your pronunciation clean. Sex, 0.5. Do this entire homework routine and you will hear your progress in just a few days. Sex, 0.5. Remember, sex, 0.3. Your mouth is a muscle. Sex, 0.5. Your voice is a skill. Your clarity is a choice. And every minute you practice, you're becoming the confident English speaker you're meant to be. And now we've come to the end of this lesson. But this is not the end of your journey. In fact, this is just the beginning. Think about everything you've learned today. How to learn English faster, how to speak more clearly, how to train your mouth, how to shadow effectively, how to master word stress, and how to build a daily system that guarantees progress. These are not just techniques, they are tools. Tools that can change the way you learn, the way you speak, and the way you show up in the world. You might not realize it yet, but if you follow even half of what you learned today, your English will sound completely different in the next few weeks. Not perfect, because perfection isn't the goal. Clarity, confidence, and consistency are. And here's something important I want you to remember as you finish this video. You are not stuck. You are not slow. You are not bad at English. Sex, 0.5. You simply didn't have the right roadmap. Sex, 0.5. But now you do. Sex, from today on, 3. Every word you speak, every sound you shape, every minute you practice brings you one step closer to the English speaker you want to become. And trust me, you can become that person. You can speak clearly. You can express your ideas confidently. You can communicate in a way that people respect, understand, and remember. You just need to keep going. Don't let fear stop you. Don't let past mistakes define you. Don't let the voice in your head tell you that you're not good enough. You are learning. You are improving. You are growing every single day. And I want you to make yourself a promise right now that you will show up tomorrow, even if it's just for 10 minutes, that you will practice your chunks, that you will shadow a sentence, that you will warm up your mouth and record your voice, that you will keep moving forward no matter how small the step is, because small steps build big changes. That's how real transformation happens, quietly, consistently, day after day. And if this video helped you, if it gave you clarity, motivation, or a new way to learn, then do one thing for yourself. Hit that subscribe button and stay with me on this journey. We're building a community of learners who are improving, supporting each other, and becoming confident English speakers together. Before you leave, write this in the comments. I will speak clearly. Not for me, but for you. Because when you type it, you claim it. You commit to it. You take ownership of your progress. Thank you for spending your time with me today. I appreciate you, I believe in you, and I can't wait to see how far you'll go. Your English transformation starts now, and I'll see you in the next lesson.